Welcome back, everyone, to the AOR Pro Mazda Championship. It's round number 8 from Road Atlanta. My name is Justin, and joining me once again today, it's the Norse god of sim racing himself, FisiFan91.
Thanks for that introduction, Justin. Yeah, hello everyone. Happy to be here for round 8 of the season. Road Atlanta, a very tricky and fun circuit in the southeast of America. And after Brands, I'm hoping for a little bit more of a clean race here today, but I'm sure it'll be a very exciting one.
Yep, last week it was Govankini who took pole position at Brands Hatch, but after a horrific lap 1 incident, it was Michael Mittner who picked up the pieces and cruised home to a comfortable victory, 24 seconds ahead of Jean-Francois Godin and another 6 seconds ahead of Martinson in third. Also, because of the repeated offenses by Kini this season, he has been removed from the league. Jamie Fluke still leads the championship ahead of Brunner, despite the fact that neither of them participated in the last race at Brands Hatch because their main rivals, Phil Reed and Joni Takanen, were taken out in the first lap incident. The championship is really starting to shake up now, with Godin and Martinson now in 4th and 5th respectively as we're approaching the tail end of this third season. Enough about the past though, let's get this party started, beginning with the qualifying report.
Here we are then on the track at the Road Atlanta circuit, returning to the AOR Pro Mazda League for the first time since Season 1, and we'll be watching on board from the cockpit of two Americans, Justin Brunner, the Season 2 champion, on the left hand side, and a newcomer to the league, Jake Beckett, on the right. As they're already going through two of the most tricky corners on the whole circuit, turn 2 and 3. Right at the top of the hill, you're pretty much going in there without seeing the apex, and then back down the hill now through the S's, staying away from the curbs to avoid the car getting unsettled, but using as much as you can on the entry into turn 5, and then using a lot of the exit. Jake Beckett running slightly more wide than Justin Brunner, and that's the corner where you can run wide as much as you want, as long as you don't hit the grass. One downshift down to 4th gear for the cambered turn 6, and then back on the power for a brief moment before braking all the way down to 2nd gear before turn 7, which is basically the most important corner on the circuit, because it leads onto this massive back straight, which is the only real place on the circuit where the drivers have the opportunity to relax a little bit, just full throttle all the way down, shifting all the way out to 6th gear. Brunner reaching 6th gear a little bit before Beckett there, which might indicate that he's running lower downforce on the setup as they come down the hill into the braking zone, back down to 3rd gear for the turn 10 chicane. Brunner with a slight advantage on the first apex there, but Beckett taking a very nice line through the exit, the Brunner running a little bit wide under the exit curb, and then coming down the hill towards the final corner, full throttle through it before the finish line. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what 0.02 of a second look like in these Star Mazda cars. Brunner edging himself just ahead of Beckett.
So the Americans, Justin Brunner and Jake Beckett, start the race from 2nd and 3rd position, but Kerry Nolden takes pole position with a 119.514. Jamie Fluke, championship contender, starts from 4th, with race winner Michael Mittner starting from 5th. Daniel Berenson starts in 6th, and he's followed by Robinson, Patrick White, Phil Reed, and Hugo Prado. Harley Lewis starts 3 places behind his teammate in 11th position. Martinson starts in 12th as the lead car for AOR Red. Mark Hoppins starts in 13th, and he's followed by Osterkamp. Christoph Leister starts in 15th, followed by Chris Robinson. Marco Bendow starts in 17th, and Bruno Dometer, Stefan Bendow, and Stefan Schlacker round out the top 20. Bringing up the rear of the grid, it wasn't a great qualifying for Team Tortoise or Conducci Racing, as Evan Imre starts from 21st position, followed by Saltalamakia, Plumley, and Johansson. Neil Lukens starts in 25th position, just ahead of Van Rompuy and Steve Kagerer, all 3 of whom failed to set a time. Enough about qualifying though, let's go to the race. Welcome to the grid here in Georgia, the state, not the country, where we've got 27 drivers on the grid preparing to race for the 2nd time at this difficult American circuit. You can see them rounding around the final corner there. There is last week's winner. Michael Mittner sat in 5th position, a good qualifying for him. New driver from America, Jake Beckett, starts from 3rd position. Very strong for him, just 0.02 of a second off Justin Brunner. And there is your pole sitter, Kerry Nolden of AOR Blue. Sat at the front of the 27 car pack as we're waiting for the lights to come on now, and the engines are revving. The drivers preparing for this race mentally, physically, and they're away. And it looks like not a great start for Kerry Nolden, actually, as it looks like Justin Brunner pressuring him on the left-hand side. It's going to be a right-hand corner at turn 1, so it's going to be difficult. Oh, and there's definitely been contact in the background there. See a couple of cars tumble in there, and Justin Brunner actually does stick it around the outside. Nope, but Kerry Nolden hangs on to that first place position as we go through into the S's section. Very difficult part of the circuit, heading down the hill, and got to be very careful. And it looks like all of the top 3 drivers are in their starting positions. Phil Reed up a couple of positions after starting in 9th. He's already up into 7th position. So it's a good start for the AOR Blue team. And it looks like he's got another car lined up, and he's going to be taking 6th position possibly here. Turn number 6 is also a right-hand corner. This is a clockwise circuit. And he does stick it around the outside, does Phil Reed. There's another right-hander coming up right after this, though, and he has taken that position. So Phil Reed showing some incredible pace here in the opening laps, and he's going to set his sights now on Jamie Fluke. And actually, I'm not sure who that was that he was battling with, but it looks like we got a couple of side-by-side battles back behind him. That was Berenson. Justin Brunner now on the attack on Kerry Nolden for the lead of this race into turn 10. What is turns 10A and 10B, and Nolden's going to have to go around the outside there as they head underneath the bridge, go up and over the hill. There is Berenson going side-by-side with Prado, and Prado relegates Berenson down yet another position, and it looks like Berenson coming under attack once again, so it's not a great start whatsoever for Daniel Berenson, who started this race in 6th position, and I think he's down to 10th or 11th at this point now. But Justin Brunner still in 2nd place, despite going side-by-side with Kerry Nolden in that opening lap there. But it's yeah, a pretty clean start. Oh, but Mittner's actually up a position. Yeah, Mittner's up to 4th. I apologize, I forgot about that. Fluke started in 5th, and Mittner's gotten by him.
Yeah, absolutely. Mittner actually had a great start. Kind of went unnoticed because we were focused on the leaders, but Mittner got past Fluke already into turn 2, I believe. So up a place, and obviously not very. Oh, as there's a car in the background there actually. Not quite sure who that was, but I'm sure we'll get a replay. And yeah, like I said. Important for Fluke to not fall too far off Brunner, because they're obviously battling for the championship. But here we go to another battle then. Martinson and Marco Benzo, I believe, one of the Benzo brothers anyway, and they're going side by side now down the massive back straight. That's obviously going to be the prime passing position. The only complete the place on the track where I'm sure we'll see passing overtakes, because that's such a long straight, and Fluke has just made a move there, just showing my points, and up to 4th again as we go side-by-side action for the lead. Brunner and Beckett has both gone past Kerry Nolden. Not quite sure what has gone on there. Brunner's into the lead, Beckett in 2nd, Nolden down to 3rd, and he seems to be dropping even more time to the top 2 now. Going around turn 1 now to start lap 3. I'm not sure, Justin, if you saw anything I went on there. He's lifting as well, going up the hill now.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a corner cut warning, possibly. I mean, that's the only thing that I could... It looked like his steering inputs were nice and straight, as far as I could tell. And it looks like he's actually going on the attack now, unless that's Reed. Sorry, they're running right next to each other, and I'm not sure which is which now. But regardless of which of those cars he is, actually, it does seem he's got the throttle wide open now once again. And yeah, that is Reed ahead, actually, who is pressuring...
Oh, Prado in the barrier.
Gosh. Yep, Prado has gone off the circuit and into the barrier, hitting the front end and the rear end of his car on that barrier, coming to a complete stop in the grass there, and I'm sure that's going to be very damaging to his race. As we're having a look now at Patrick White, currently in 7th position. He started in 8th position. I'm assuming he gained a position as a result of Kerry Nolden's issues. And here is that battle between Michael Mittner and Phil Reed that we were kind of touching on earlier, as Phil Reed's going to have the inside line on Mittner now as we head into turn 10, and it looks like a very easy move for him. Martinson now coming under attack from another new driver, Stefan Schlocker. I hope I'm saying that right, Stefan. And it looks like Stefan is going to move up a position and take that place as we're coming to the end of the 3rd lap for them. And here we are. We're going to get a replay of the incidents at the start. Go ahead and talk us through this, Fizzy.
Yeah, nice overview of the start once again, and you can see Brunner getting a better launch than Kerry Nolden. Fluke also actually getting a very good launch. I'm interested to see how he got past by Mittner in the end, because Fluke got a very good launch at the start, almost looked to be passing Jack Beckett for a bit, but then he just ran wide, it looks like, through turn 1, and Mittner just got past him on the inside line into 4th place, and obviously a bit of contact happened. Well, it was a clean first corner, but there was some contact in the background even before the first corner, so I'm sure we'll see exactly what happened there in a second. But here we go, on board with Fluke now, and a fantastic launch for him, really, probably the best out of all of the top 4. And he obviously doesn't have too much place to go with Brunner and Nolden side by side into the first corner, yeah, and he just got a little bit out of shape on the outside line. and couldn't quite carry the speed around the corner, and Mittner just slipped by him through this very tricky kinky of turn 2 or 3. I'm not completely sure what you'd call that, but here we go then. Leon Robinson doesn't even get underway. Clearly messed up the start there, getting passed by pretty much everyone. And he's there we go. That is what happened. We just touched with one of the Bendows, I think Stefan Bendo, and then Bruno Dometer was involved there as well. Let's see. Phil Reed just behind Lee Robinson off the start, and he does so well to avoid hitting into the back of him. Robinson just clearly messing up the start procedure, which, you know, it's several steps you have to get right, and you got to lack concentration, I guess, to mess it up, but he couldn't go get it right, and Stefan Bendau trying to get past him, just got a little bit too close, and he goes rolling. So not sure what to think about that, Justin. Obviously very unfortunate for both him and Bruno Dometer as well, who was just an innocent victim there.
Yeah, Dometer, who had such a strong race last time out, it's really... Oh, gosh, one of the Team Tortoise cars is going very slow. There's been contact with Steve Kagerer as well, as far as I can tell. We're going to get a replay of that right now. You can see up ahead just... Yeah, Evan Imre just going very, very slowly. Neil Lukens having to take to the grass in order to avoid that incident. Oh, as we get a nice fade to the AOR blue. That was interesting. And there is the corner cut from Kerry Nolden. And wow, man, that is a strict penalty. I mean, you can hear him lift off here. He's already lost out on 2 positions, and I'd say he cut that corner by maybe half a foot, 6 inches. I don't know what that is in centimeters, I'm gonna be honest, but it really was not that much. So that seemed pretty severe of a penalty. But Nolden is on the attack now, looking to get by Mittner, just like Reed did previously earlier in the race. And it does look like he's actually just breezed right by him. As you said before, Fizzy, it is a very long straight between turns 7 and 10. 8 and 9 aren't really turns; they're part of the course. And actually, is that Martinson? I believe, yeah, Martinson going on the attack with Schlacker once again. So they traded positions once before already in this race, and trading once again now as Martinson hugging the inside line pretty well there through the final couple of corners there, 11 and 12. Harley Lewis now on the inside of Mark Hoppen. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to get... Yeah, he's going to have to stay behind you. Really? Oh, gosh, that's a big oversteer moment. That's going to send him right off the circuit. I think he's kept it out of the barrier. Yes, he has. And thankfully, there's a little bit of an escape road there, sort of. So he's going to be able to continue on as Martinson appears to actually be pulling a gap even on Schlacker. And Mittner as well seems to be dropping back from the AOR Blue guys. Pretty soon here, Kerry Nolden is potentially going to need to try and get by Phil Reed if possible. But interesting to point out, and that's very bad for Michael Mittner. Yeah, he's just gone spinning right off the circuit. As I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, this is a very, very difficult circuit. Not one I am particularly strong at. I'll put it that way. But he did avoid the barrier, thankfully, so no damage for him. Harley Lewis is actually gonna looks like he's gonna fly right by him because, of course, Mittner has no speed really as he was coming onto this straight because of spinning and coming to a complete stop. So Harley Lewis grabs a position, and just ahead of him, I think it's Robert Plumley or Saltalamacchia. I'm not sure which of the Canducci cars that is, but this was the car that you saw in the background, I think, Fizzy. This is Osterkamp. Yep, just getting it all wrong through turn 5, which is very easy to do. I'm just going to say it again. It's a corner. Yeah, very difficult circuit, and that's a very tricky corner, as you said.
Ooh, he just does exactly the same thing.
Yep. I don't know if that was Stefan or if that was Marco, but...
I'm afraid.
Yep, same here. Here's a replay of Robert Plumley now with a little bit of it was a nice-looking drift until he ended up in the grass and doing a 180, and that's going to bring him to a complete stop, as Neil Lukens is now going to be right up on his back. And I believe this is Jamie Fluke. Is this Jamie Fluke?
Indeed, it is indeed.
What?
But up to the top 2. So it's a bit of a top 3 train, and then the AOR Blue cars are just trying to hang on at the moment, as Phil Reed has gone wide on the grass there. Nolan flies by, and I mean, maybe that's a good thing for them in a way, because Nolan, based on qualifying, has the best pace out of the 2, and he could catch the top 3. But here we go then, Phil Reed under attack from Patrick White as well, going side by side into turn 1. Oh, there's contact! Contact, White flies off, and he hits the barrier as well. That's going to be some severe damage to his rear wing, and that could well be his race over right there. Phil Reed still going, though. He seems to be struggling a lot through there, doing very well to keep control of the car. So still going in 5th place with Phil Reed. But man, there might as well be a little bit of damage in with that contact with Patrick White, but I see him, at least he has come out the better out of the two.
Yeah. He has definitely a little bit less damage, I think. I think you're right about that. Here's now Martinson on Hoppin for 7th position here on lap 7, and very nicely behind him as we go through the double right-handers of turns 6 and 7. And this is the prime overtaking location, as we've been saying. Nicely in the slipstream is Martinson, and is Hoppin going to defend the inside line as they head down towards turn 10. He's stuck right in the middle of the circuit. He's just going to let Martinson decide what he wants to do. Martinson decides he's going to go for the inside line. It's a bit of a chicane this overtaking location at turns 10A and 10B. So if you're side by side, I don't think there's a massive difference as far as being to the inside or the outside. Michael Mittner now on the inside, though, of Harley Lewis as we head into 10A, and then he gives him room at 10B, and it looks like he's got the better exit. Yep, and he's going to take that position. Here's Robert Plumley now making a move on Evan Imre once again into turn 10, and Plumley with the inside line makes quick work of him. And I believe that's Neil Lukens actually just behind them. So Neil up into the top 20 already, into a points-paying position. So good for him as we're coming to the end of this lap now through what is by far my favorite part of the circuit, which is the final couple of corners as you come down the hill and you just flat out through that right-hander. Beautiful corner. I also really enjoyed this turn 1. Very nice. It's just the bumpy S's and everything that I don't like. Here's an incident on lap 3 involving Hugo Prado and Patrick White. We can say Prado with a much better exit coming out of turn 5. Oh, and I don't think Patrick White knew he was there. That's the only thing I can assume, because he really just moved over on him while they were side by side. So I've got to imagine that was just an error. I don't think Patrick White would have done that intentionally, but that's unfortunately not where Patrick White's struggles ended, as he makes contact there with Phil Reed, goes sliding off, and there is that rear wing damage you were talking about there, Fizzy. And we're going to see it on board from Phil Reed's point of view. He's got the inside line for the corner, which isn't necessarily the better line, and it looks like he gave him plenty of room. As far as I could tell, there was room at the exit of the corner, so I don't think he carried too much speed there. I think that one was a racing incident, as far as I could tell. But Nolden, as you mentioned, he's really brought himself back into contention for this race win. He is right up on these guys. I mean, he seems to be driving like a man on a mission, and he was over a 10th quicker than any other driver in qualifying. So, I mean, with still 34 laps remaining in this race, I'd say any of these 4 could bring home the win.
Absolutely. I think obviously Kerry clearly has the pace based on qualifying, and he's probably a bit annoyed with himself after cutting that corner. Kind of a similar situation finding himself in that he had in Montreal when he got 2 corner cut slowdown warnings. Obviously, on that occasion, he dropped further down than he did this time. So now he's still in with a great shot at the win, hanging onto the top group still, as he ran very wide coming on this little back straight, I'd say. Brunner, though, looking good on in front at the moment, keeping Beckett at a nice gap behind him. And I just want to touch quickly on the Phil Reed incident. Obviously, I think he actually had a corner cut warning as well, coming out of the chicane. That's why he was so slow on the exits, and obviously along with running wide, and why he carried so little speed onto the straight, and that's why Patrick White managed to catch him. But I do agree with you that it was a racing incident, really, because Patrick White had a lot of space on the outside that he could have used, and it's kind of, I feel like he kind of brought that on himself by turning in so close to Reed there. But here we go then, a very close battle in the midfield with Michael Mittner, Vittorio Saltalamacchia and Harley Lewis, and they're going to go pretty much 3 wide down the straight if Lewis can get a little bit further alongside, and Michael Mittner in the middle, slightly ahead at the moment, but Lewis pulling further ahead on the outside. Who's going to come out on top there? Saltalamacchia backs out of it, Mittner on the inside gets both positions, and I'm not completely sure what position that is for. I think it's like just outside the top 10 or maybe even 4th. But it's a big gap ahead though, so obviously Lewis and Mittner must be quite disappointed with their position at the moment, given where they started, as we have an overtake for 15th place between Evan Imre and Robert Plumley. Imre pulling to the inside down the long straight into 10A and 10B, and he gets that move done quite easily, as they got Alexander Van Rompuy just ahead, I believe. And now then we skip a little bit further on, and we're on board with Mark Hoppen running in 8th place, just behind Martinson running in 7th. So he's gained back some positions after, gaining some position through Mittner and Lewis dropping back mainly, and obviously White and Preto obviously having incidents as well. So it's, the field is kind of spread out a bit, as we got Mittner and Lewis side by side once again down the back straight. And there's side by side ahead of them as well with Martins and Hoppen. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in both of these battles. Hoppen, though, has so much more straight line speed on that occasion and pulls himself up to 7th. And Michael Mittner, can he hold on to the inside line again? He can. So he is up to what I believe is 10th at the moment.
Yep, yeah, I believe you're right. Yep, that is in fact 10th position. So, yep, he's in the top 10 at the moment, but of course he's got that battle going on right now. And here's the battle for 14th position. Evan Imre really on the attack here. I mean, he started in the tail end below 20th in the bottom part of the grid, and he's already up into the top 20 now and pushing to. I mean, if he keeps going like like this, keeps overtaking people, he might find himself in the top 10, especially if there's any sort of incidents up ahead, as it looks like he's carried a lot more speed onto the start-finish straight than I'm sorry, actually, that was Van Rompuy. He's gone a little... Van Rompuy actually has gotten a little bit out of shape there through turn 1. It looks like he took a little bit too much inside curb, and Imre's going to go around the outside at turn 2, and he's taken that position, so another position gain for Evan Imre, the Team Tortoise driver, looking quite strong as we turn our focus once again to the top 4. And Kerry Nolden has moved up into 3rd position ahead of Jamie Fluke. Jamie really has proven to be a cautious driver, a very quick driver, but very cautious driver as well. Really not many incidents for him. There's a bit of a gap now forming between Jake and Kerry, so Kerry's going to have to really step on it to try and close him down. This is actually a great section to do that in these S's here, as they're coming down the hill now before going back up the hill through turn 5, and that's really a feature of this circuit, I think, as we're going to have a quick replay of what happened to Christoph Leister on lap number 5, as he runs very wide, gets into the grass, and gets a little bit of, gravel, gets a little bit of oversteer there, ends up in the barrier, and that is some definite front-end damage for him. Certainly not what you want before, well, I guess better now than after the pit stops, because he can get it repaired, but certainly that's not what you want. Speaking of which, what would you say the pit window is going to be looking like for today's race?
Not completely sure. I think it's pretty standard, to be honest, about 6-8 laps maybe. As we saw Hoppen again defending from Martinsen. Yeah, it's obviously, I think it's actually quite close here. If you start the race with a full tank of fuel, as we see Mittner and Lewis side by side again through the final few corners there, with Lewis on the inside this time, and he gets the position for 10th place. But yeah, like I said, the fuel works on this game in kind of increments of 1, 2, 3, 4 gallons. So that if you start the race with a full tank of fuel, which is 4.6 gallons, I think it's quite close in terms of the what amount you need to finish a race, as to whether you need to add 3 or 4 gallons on the pit stop, and that could be quite crucial. If someone decides to add 3 gallons and someone decides to add 4, that could give some time to the guys who decide to add 3 in the pit stops, and we could see some differences formed there as to whether people play it safe and want to push their fuel. Obviously, sitting behind people in slipstream can also help you save fuel, whereas some guys at the front of the trains will be burning up more. So yeah, be interested to see what happens in the pit stop. It usually tends to shake the field up a little bit, as we got the battle for 7th still going on with Hoppen and Martinsen, and Schlacker, the new guy, looking on as well in Hoppen's sister team, Gemini Racing Red. As they go side by side through the chicane once again, Hoppen on the inside for the second part, but Martinsen carrying more speed around the outside and down towards the final corner and pulling himself ahead into 7th. So this looks to be a battle that will be raging on at least until the pit stops, where we might see some changes potentially, and Hoppen coming right back in, Martinsen having to go defensive into turn 1. But that's a very hard corner to go around the outside, and the Hoppen is getting very close to him. And this is definitely not a corner you want to go side by side in. This is such a tricky one. Turn 2 there. Very, it's kind of blind, and it's over a hill. It's quite bumpy, especially if you hit that curb. And then down the hill there as well. It's flat out down here, but very tricky as well to get the right line. As we got now a replay of the overtake for 14th place. Plumley getting back past Imre. So Imre was looking to be moving up, but now he's dropped back 1 place again. Good move from Plumley, quite a standard move though, you have to say, around here. And here we go, lap 15 with Jamie Fluke. What is he up to? He's gone very wide, nearly hit the wall there. And that corner again, that turn 5 is causing a lot of drivers' problems there today, it seems.
Yeah, it's really a corner where you can use all of the track and then some. You know, there's that runoff area, but then right beyond the runoff area is just gravel, which is very difficult, of course, because you're still turning the wheel is the other thing. As you're touching that gravel, you're still turning left through turn 5 there, as Mark Hoppen getting very close to Martinson now. Martinson defending the inside line as we head into turns 10A and 10B. Schlacker right behind once again, really seems to just be sitting back and waiting for these two guys to possibly make a mistake. Hoppen really losing out there. Schlacken with a lot more speed as we go underneath the bridge and into the final couple of corners to finish the lap. And it looks like Martinson is pulling away a little bit from Hoppen. Hoppen really lost quite a bit of time through 10A and 10B there as we're heading into turn 1 now. Turning our focus once again to the leaders, and Jamie Fluke has definitely dropped off the back of them. I don't know if that's purely because of that incident that we saw at the exit of turn 5 that he had, or if that's compounded the lack of slipstream, but or if he's had some sort of issue. I'm not entirely sure, but Jamie Fluke is definitely out of slipstream range, I would say at this point. I mean, maybe if they were going 180 miles an hour, he'd be picking up a little bit of a slipstream, but something tells me they are not reaching those types of speeds here today at Road Atlanta. But Kerry Nolden still in 3rd position, running right behind Jake Beckett, the newbie. So we actually have an American 1-2, and I believe that, yeah, that's going to be the first time ever we've had an American 1-2. In fact, I think this is the first time ever we've had 2 American drivers in a race in the AOR Pro Mazda series out of all the seasons, and the fact that both of them are 1 and 2 right now in this race. I'm filled with a great sense of pride right now, Fizzy.
Yeah, I can hear your excitement, Justin. Obviously, you've been an American yourself. Yeah, well, I'm sure Kerry Nolan is sitting back there though, wanting to spoil your party. But yeah, very crucial about Fluke dropping off though, because obviously we know the championship situation going into this race. Fluke at the top of the championship. He's currently leading, but he's only 3 points ahead of Justin Brunner. So he's dropping quite a gap now as it stands, and this is not a good result for Jamie Fluke.
And they've both used their drop rounds, right? They've both used their drop rounds already.
Both of them have missed. Ooh, as we got Mittner going off the track there. But yeah, both Fluke and Brunner have missed 2 races so far this season, meaning that they will not drop any points in terms of the results that are scored for them. So yeah, ooh, as we see that corner again, turn 5 causing more problems. This time it's Stefan Schlager. Oh, so nearly hit Mitt.
Oh wow! Holy cow! Well held by Schlager there. And great job by, I'm not sure which Kptk car that was. I think that might have been Robert. Actually. That was Saltalamacchia.
Saltalamacchia is running quite high up in this race. You know, you usually see him towards the back of the field, but he's looking quite strong here.
I think he was stronger in previous seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you can correct me on that, Fizzy. But I feel like Saltalamacchia was a little bit higher up on the grid and in the field in the race. As once again, this battle between... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's actually... that's Mittner getting by and taking that position. That was off of Hoppen.
Yeah,
that was off
Hoppen. Quite a way off Martinson, actually. And Martinson now being caught by Holly Lewis. That is obviously the battle for 7th at the moment. Mittner and Hoppen trying desperately to hang on as well, but they seem to be falling a little bit behind. It's crucial to you know, it's crucial to stay within the 2 seconds gap, because that as long as you're within 2 seconds of the car ahead, you will generally get some slipstream effect. But obviously, the closer you are, then the more you will get. But yeah, if you drop outside the 2 second window, then you're basically done around here, because it's so crucial to have slipstream down this massive straight, as Jake Beckett is taking advantage of that right now, although Brunner seems to have a pretty good top speed, to be honest, because they weren't actually gaining that massively, even though Brunner doesn't have slipstream at the moment.
Yeah. As you said, Brunner looking very comfortable actually on the straight as he dives into the pits here at the end of lap 21. So it's an early pit stop as he becomes the first of the front runners. We see one of the Kptk cars also pitting, but they would be a lap down, in fact. So they're pitting at the end of what is lap 20 for them. The battle for 7th continues to rage on. This time it is between Martinson and Lewis. Martinson with the inside line, Lewis with the outside line, but now he's going to have the inside line for this right-hander, but Martinson just carries far more speed coming out of turn 10B there as they come down the hill. And again, I love that section of the course. Truly great stuff there. And I believe this is going to be... Oh, right, that's Kerry Nolden. Sorry, I was a little bit lost there after Justin Brunner pit. I was expecting to see all 3 of them, but Kerry Nolden hunting down Jake Beckett. And this is really, you got to say, a good opportunity for him as one of either Michael Mittner or Christoph Leister gets out of the way.
I believe he's a few laps down at this point, I believe, after his spin into the wall earlier on, as we got an incident lap 21. Lukens and Leister. Lukens spinning into the wall out of turn 5 once again. Oh, yeah. That's why Leister was going so slow, because he got caught in Lukens' spin, sadly. Just coming over the hill there, and he couldn't really react in time. Lukens couldn't really do much once he had spun there, to be honest. Unfortunately, though, for Leister, he was right on the racing line as he came over the hill, and yeah, just kind of ending his race even more if it wasn't ended already.
Similar to what we saw with Schlacher and Saltalamacchia, only it ended up a lot worse, unfortunately. Lukens was able to keep it out of the barrier there, but unfortunately he did get hit, which is certainly going to be bad. Now, you got to say, this is a prime opportunity here for Kerry Nolden to try and get by Jake. Now that Justin is gone, that means that Jake is no longer getting a slipstream. I don't know if he's too far back here as we're heading down the straight. This is technically turn 8, and then this little kink here, this right-hander, this is turn 9. And you've pointed out blind spots already, Fizzy. This is sort of another one. You can't really see anything as you're coming up and over the crest of that hill. Nolden with the inside line now, heading into turn 10A. He brakes very, very late and just grabs that position without even having to go side by side. And Jake carries a little bit more speed through the through 10A and 10B there, but both cars diving into the pits here at the end of lap 23 as we are rapidly approaching the halfway point of this race. But that is crucial for Kerry Nolden. He really needs to nail this pit stop here. Otherwise, he's just going to get passed right back by Jake Beckett. It's going to be interesting, of course, to see where Justin Brunner comes out in all of this, as Phil Reed also pits from 4th position at the end of lap 23. And as I was saying, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. Ooh, as Nolden locks up a little bit heading into his pit box. I don't see him needing to reverse, though, so I do believe he's getting serviced despite that lockup. And we're sat in the car with him, and the engine's revving, and we're just waiting for him to get the go-ahead, and he does get the go-ahead, and he does stay ahead of Jake, and that is crucial there. Now, where is Justin Brunner? There is Justin Brunner coming around turn 1 right now. He's got a lot more speed. He's already gotten past Jake, but he's not going to be able to take Nolden, as Kerry Nolden takes the lead of this race once again after losing out because of that penalty that he received earlier. Wow, that was an incredible pit stop by Kerry Nolden to retake the lead of this race.
Absolutely great work in the pit stop. He looked a bit slidey, actually, going both in and out of the pits, but he's clearly done a pretty perfect pit stops to jump Justin Brunner. I don't think Brunner had any traffic as well on his outlap, so very good job by Kerry, and he also as well had to pass Jake Beckett in the process. So, well, but then again, though, here we go on the back straight again, and Kerry now is the man with no slipstream, and we saw earlier that Brunner seems to have very good top speed, maybe running a pretty low downforce, so let's see, though, if he can pull this. He seems to be pulling alongside, but Kerry defending the inside. Ooh. Brunner using his top speed to get ahead even before the braking zone, so Brunner just goes straight back into the lead. Such a good speed down the straight, and I mean, it certainly looks like, anyway, based on that he is potentially running lower downforce than both of the two cars behind.
Yeah, I mean, Nolden may have cold tires still. I don't know how the layout of this circuit contributes to the warming of these tires, but obviously that was that last lap, that was the out lap for Nolden. So he may have been suffering from cold tires potentially. I mean, he didn't get a new set of tires put on the car, so I don't think they would have been too cold. As Phil Reed has had a horrible off-track incident at turn 3, at the exit of turn 3, the transition into turn 4, and that's definitely going to be a corner cut warning, and he's going to have to give up some time, as Saltalamacchia as well has had an incident at the exit of turn 5, and he does not keep it out of the barrier.
Damn, that's turn 5.
So that is very unfortunate for Saltalamacchia, who avoided making contact with Stefan Schlacher earlier in the race, as we got a replay now of Harley Lewis and Martinson. Lewis and Martinson both into the pits at the same time. Martinson had the position as they headed in. Lewis with his pit stop, with his pit box one further, and there goes Martinson, and out. Lewis, yeah, just gets going. So, and I wonder if that's maybe something to do with the 3-4 gallon thing that you were talking about earlier, Fizzy.
It might well be.
That might be the difference we're seeing there, potentially, as Nolden still in second position, still hanging in there behind Brunner, but as you said, it really seems like Brunner has the straight line advantage today here at Road Atlanta, and in fact, Jake now all over the back of Kerry Nolden. I mean, this is something I think anybody that follows racing will notice. You start as a racing driver, you start smelling that weakness in the driver ahead of you. And I think Jake would have seen just how easily Brunner was able to get by Nolden, and he must be very aware, painfully aware at this point, of how slow Kerry Nolden is on the straights, and he's probably going to be looking to take that second place position. Of course, Jake and Justin are both Americans, but they are in no way teammates or you know, helping each other or anything like that. So I imagine Jake is going to be looking to get by. There's another corner that I like there, actually. Turn 6 is cambered, and I love cambered corners. I think we don't see enough cambered corners in racing circuits these days, as we're going to go on board with Kerry Nolden. And we can see this is a great shot. This will show us exactly the top speed difference between them. So Justin Brunner maybe getting a sniff of a slipstream off of that back marker just ahead of him. But look at Kerry Nolden. He can barely close in on him. We're already almost at the end of the straight. He's just now starting to close in on Brunner, and now we're braking for turn 10A. So I really think Kerry has unfortunately gone the wrong way aerodynamically here. As he's gone very wide at the exit of 10B there, and that's going to allow Jake to move by. Jake now up into second position, and once again, Kerry Nolden relegated down into third for the second time in this race. This time not because of a corner cut, but just because of a mistake on his part, and also because of the top speed of Brunner. So that is very unfortunate for Nolden.
Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. Nolden being in the lead battle for third, just like he was here when we raced this track in Season 1, obviously. That time he was battling two teammates. Luckily for him, he's not quite in that situation this time. He's got 3 cars around him, well, 2 other cars around him. I also want to win the race, as we see a lovely slow-mo of the on-body just had to caused him to drop down to third place. And Justin Brunner as well, obviously. This is going, you know, regardless of who wins this race, there is going to be something special. Kerry might kind of eradicate some of the demons from Season 1 when he failed to win there in that 3-way battle. Jake Beckett would get a debut win if he managed to win here, and Justin Brunner has actually not yet won a race in Season 3, despite being, well, nearly leading the championship. So, but yeah, you can see though, Kerry Nolden pulling Jake Beckett in on the straight, so he didn't quite have the speed to pull in Justin Brunner, but he pulls in Jake Beckett even though Beckett had the slipstream of Brunner, so Beckett might actually run even less downforce than Kerry Nolden, to be honest, based on that.
I don't know if I'm having deja vu or something, but I swear we saw Nolden make that exact same overtake maneuver on Jake Beckett earlier, if I'm not mistaken. That looked very similar to me. So Nolden back up into second position, but of what we've seen so far, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do any better than that unless Justin has some sort of issue there, as he takes lots of curve there at turn 2. You can actually see Justin Brunner's car lifting off there, but it does appear that it's worked out for him, as there's actually a little bit of a gap between him and Nolden as they're going through the S section. We've got a Kptk car up ahead. I believe that was Robert Plumley's helmet that I saw in that Kptk racing car in the lovely purple and yellow livery there. And yeah, definitely Justin Brunner with a little bit more of an advantage this lap versus previous laps, as I'm expecting this back marker is going to be getting out of the way. If I was the back marker, I probably would have pulled to the side between turns 6 and 7, because lifting off on this part of the track is really going to cost him quite a bit of time. As we're on board now with Kerry Nolden facing backwards, and that is indeed Robert Plumley. That got nicely out of the way. Thank you very much, Robert, for that. And Jake really doesn't seem to be so. I wonder if the cars are actually running the order that they're running in right now. I wonder if it's actually in order of aerodynamics, with Justin running the least amount of downforce, followed by Kerry. But Kerry once again. Right, it's the oh my gosh, that's double deja vu. Is that deja vu? I don't even know what that would be called. But Kerry Nolden loses that second place position once again. He's got to be kicking himself coming out of that turn 10B for the second time, losing. So he's still in a podium position, and pretty comfortably, I believe. The last time we saw Jamie Fluke was quite a while ago, as the other Kptk racing car of Vittorio Satalamakia gets nicely out of the way. Which means, actually, we might have a Kptk racing battle going on in the background, as Robert Plumley is now catching up to him. And Kerry Nolden, I've noticed, has been using much of that runoff area there as Phil Reed's struggles continue on lap 32. It has not been a great day for Phil Reed. It started off great. After qualifying in 9th, he was up into, I think it was 6th position.
He's still in 5th, I believe.
Oh,
it's not actually been that bad. It's just that he's kind of on his own in 5th, so he can't afford making those mistakes at the moment. And yeah.
Oh, and that's Mittner, I think.
It is, yeah. Oh, and that's Martinson going past.
Yeah, Martinson gets by him as they're heading into turn 6 there. So actually, we can see what that looks like from on board with Martinson. And right there, that was actually a textbook way of taking turn 5 from Martinson there. He ran off the circuit, which you are allowed to do here. I should mention that for the viewers. I'm sure some people are watching this and they're going, all 4 wheels off the circuit, all 4 wheels off the circuit, you know, and they're thinking F1 rules. But no, here at Road Atlanta, you are allowed to go beyond the curbing there, as Jake has gone a little bit sideways there coming out of turn 7. That is definitely going to put him under threat from Nolden here, as they're barely through turn 8, heading through towards turn 9 now. They're already side by side, and I wonder, is Kerry getting a slipstream? I believe Kerry is picking up that slipstream off Justin Brunner, and he does breeze right by Jake back into that second place position. But for how long? He's coming up to turn 10B right now. Let's see if Kerry Nolden has learned his lesson. You know, fool me once, shame on you. That's in that old saying. Kerry Nolden does hang on to that position and keep his car on the circuit for right now, as we're going to go on board with Michael Mittner, who is running right behind Martinson. Martinson, the lead AOR car, Lukens just inside the top 20 at the moment. And that's very strange for Michael Mittner, actually. It sounded like he lifted a little bit, and then he pulled to the right-hand side out of the slipstream from Martinson. So that's a strange one for sure, I think.
Maybe fuel or something. Not completely sure, though. Maybe he's lifting because he is running quite close to the limit on fuel in terms of what he'll get away with for the end of the race.
Great point.
But just going to do a quick kind of overview of what the order is at the moment. You obviously got the top 3 battle, and there's a bit of a gap down to Jamie Fluke in 4th. He's still running in 4th. Then we got another gap down to Phil Reed in 5th. And another gap down to Daniel Berenson, actually. We've barely seen. Berenson is running in a solid 6th at the moment, quite kind of under the radar, I should say. And then, yeah, then there's a battle between Martinson and Mittner for 7th. So Brunner is coming under attack. Yeah. Can Nolden go around the outside into the chicane? No, he can't. But that is the closest he's gotten. So, I mean, at least that gives him some hope, though, that he can maybe pull off a move down that straight, because he got very close that time. But yeah, Brunner might actually have his handful of defending in the last few laps. It's only about 8 laps to go here, so it's not too long for Kerry and Jake to make a move past Brunner if they want his win.
And Kerry seems a little bit closer versus previous laps as we move on once again to Martinson and Mittner, who are running in very close quarters right now. But again, Mittner really not seeming like, you know, I think you're right about that, Fizzy. I do think that Mittner might actually be lifting to save fuel, possibly. I think he knows that if he gets by Martinson, then he's going to be defending from Martinson, and then he's going to be out of the slipstream. He's going to be using more fuel. So I think at this point, if he is in fact nursing some sort of fuel issue, that he's probably just looking to stay in the position he's in. He's in 8th position, which is pretty far away from the win that he got last time out at Brands Hatches. There's a back marker in the way there. I think that might have been a Team Tortoise car. I couldn't exactly tell. Nolden very, very close to Justin Brunner here as we're heading into turns 10A, 10B. Justin Brunner once again defending the inside line. Nolden's going to have to brake very late and try and go around the outside, which he cannot. Once again, Brunner defending that position very well, holds on to the lead of this race for right now as we go up and over the hill underneath the bridge. On board once again with Martinson. Mittner running in, once again, very close quarters behind him. But let's see exactly what happens between them, because, I mean, look how close Mittner is. If this is not the time to overtake, I don't know what is. He's in 8th, as we've said before. He's in 8th already. A little correction, guys. I do apologize. Lukens is actually out of this race. I said he was in 19th because of the ticker at the top, but he is actually out of this race. So that was my apologies. Mittner does appear to be making a move on Martinson now. Martinson defends the inside line as we go down the hill heading into turn 10A. And is Mittner going to be able to go side by side with him? No, he can't. And Martinson hangs on to that 7th place position for right now with about 7 laps remaining in this race. And now we've got a bit of a sister team battle going on here, a battle for 10th between Mark Hoppen and Stefan Schlacker. Schlacker, the new boy, running right behind Hoppen as they're coming towards the end of the lap now, and he's definitely going to be getting a slipstream as they cross the start-finish line to begin yet another lap. And it looks like Hoppen is actually going to have to defend the inside line. No, Schlacker lifts off, thinks better of it, and decides against going trying to overtake into turn 1, as we've seen before with Harley Lewis, I think it was, or was it Patrick White, one of the Carbon Racing cars. Going side by side through turn 1 can be very, very dangerous.
Absolutely, yeah. Patrick White was the man who felt the wrath of turn 1 earlier on when he got contact and into the wall. But here we go then. Stefan Schlager getting very close to the back of Mark Hoppen out of turn 5. He didn't lose the back end this time. Let's see if he waits until the straight to make a move, though. Yeah, it looks like he will. So does I mean, Gemini Red is kind of the it's contact.
Was that contact? I'm not sure. I mean, that looked like a very violent spin. I mean, that looked like the back end stepped out because of a tap, not because of oversteer. Yeah. You know, oversteer, you really see the
already towed back to the pits.
Wow, so that seems a bit extreme. I mean, he only had about 3 corners left on the circuit. Here we're going to get a replay of that as we're heading into turn 7 there, and yeah, that is definitely contact, as you can actually see damage to the rear wing of Mark Hoppen, and I'm sure he's got to be pretty upset about that. If I'm not mistaken, he's actually the Gemini team boss.
Yeah.
So that's the equivalent of slamming into your boss as you're parking your car at work or something. So that's not a great way to kick off his career here in the AOR Pro Mazda series for Stefan Schlager. But Mark Hoppen, I mean, we're towards the end of this race, so if he can get back out there and do a couple more laps, I think he can still pick up some points. But I really got to wonder why he didn't just drive back. Like I said, I mean, that was at the exit of turn 7. All he had to do was go down the straight through turns 10A and 10B, and then there's the pit entrance. So I got to question why he got the tow there, as Nolden now, once again, having a look at Justin Brunner, but once again, Brunner defends the inside line, and once again, Nolden stays behind in second. But yeah, I've got to question Mark Hoppen's tow there. I don't know if that was the best decision.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest, but obviously we are within the 75% distance of the race. Obviously, we're only 4 laps to go, so he will at least score, even if he just stays in the pits now. He will score, because I do believe we have enough non-finishers for him to be in the top 20 still, at least, although it'll only be a matter of a point or two, I think. But yeah. Obviously, I was actually going to say just before that incident that it was looking like a great day for Gemini Racing Green, with Beckett battling for the win and Hoppen in the top 10. But obviously, he might be regretting the recruitment of Stefan Schlager at this moment in time. But I'm sure, obviously, I don't think he'll take him to the suits or anything, because obviously with how the suits work, it's up to the drivers to take other drivers to the suits if they've been involved in an incident, and considering their sister teammates, I don't think that'll happen in that case. But here we go then. Phil Reed once again sliding through turn 3. He's been doing that all day, it seems.
Well, yeah, that's
actually lap 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I swear we've seen 2 other times in addition to that. So yeah, he's been doing some rallying around that corner. But I guess he have to entertain himself somehow, being kind of lonely in 5th place back there. Yeah, we're on the penultimate lap actually, so this is when this battle will heat up. Kerry has to make, if he's going to pass Brunner down the straight, he has to do it either this time or on the final lap.
Yeah, he's got 2 real opportunities here, and he did seem extremely close to Brunner there as they were going through turn 7. Yeah, he seems very, very close now. Kerry Nolden, obviously a man on a mission here, as he is tucked into that slipstream of the American just ahead of him, and trying to defend from the American just behind him as well. I don't know if I'll ever get used to saying that. Heading once again into turn 10A, and once again, Justin Brunner just making it look so easy. I really think he's just gone the right way on setup here. Not to take anything away from Justin Brunner's abilities. He is the Season 2 champion, of course, and he's got the Season 1 champion right behind him. So this is a wonderful battle between the 2 champions of AOR Pro Mazda already. But it really just seems that Justin Brunner, as we start the final lap of this race, Justin Brunner has the better setup as far as we can tell. We can see a little bit of a variation in lines there as they were heading into turn 2. And I think Justin Brunner has gotten something a little bit wrong, as Kerry Nolden is running very, very close between them. I think less than a car length between the 2 of them as we head into turn 5. Kerry Nolden takes a little bit of that inside curb. Justin Brunner avoiding that inside curb entirely now, as this is where Kerry's going to get a little bit of a slipstream before heading into the double right-handers at turn 6 and 7. And this is the final lap. This is his final opportunity heading into turn 10A. It looks like he's about as close as last time, and last time it wasn't enough. So, I mean, right now, I just have this image of Kerry Nolden sat in his chair, just rocking back and forward, just saying, go faster, just go faster, please get by him.
He's going faster though. This is his chance. Brunner's still defending.
Side by side. very, very close between them, and it looks like Nolden actually has the track advantage. He takes the lead of the race. He brakes very, very late, heading into turn A, and he's taken the lead of the race, heading into turn B. Justin Brunner with the better exit now, up and over the hill. Jake Beckett looks like he's going to possibly try and grab second position, nearly making contact with Kerry Nolden there as they come across the line, and it does look like Justin Brunner is going to win just ahead of Kerry Nolden, with Jake Beckett getting that podium position, that final podium position on his debut race for Gemini Racing. Fantastic performance from Jake Beckett, and it's a double American podium. That's incredible. Once again, something I really did not expect to say. This battle, though, between Martinson and Mittner still raging on here in the final stages of this race as we're coming to a close here, and it looks like Martinson is going to hold on to that position. Mittner moves to the left-hand side. He's pretty far back. He looked like he was having to think about it. I think that was more of a precautionary move to the left-hand side in case Martinson had any sort of issues heading into the turn, if he maybe braked a little bit too late or something like that. But Martinson hangs on to what I believe is the 7th place position there. Jamie Fluke finishes in 4th, which means he is no longer the champion, or the championship leader, I should say. Excuse me, I didn't mean to get ahead of myself there. Jamie Fluke is in fact not a champion yet. Stefan Schlacker, though, despite making contact with his team boss Mark Hoppen, is going to come across the line to finish in the top 10. So it was still a Gemini double top 10 finish. It just probably didn't work out the exact way we anticipated. But here is that move on the final lap of the race, and I mean, you got to give some serious credit to Kerry here. I mean, that was a heck of a move. He gave it everything. I mean, you could see just how on the limit everything was, but Brunner with just such better traction coming out of the corner and just repasses, and look how close all three of them were. If you haven't already picked a thumbnail for this race, Fizzy, that might be the one right there, with all three of them just nose to tail coming up and over the hill. That's incredible. And here it is on board with Nolden as we switch on board to Justin Brunner now. And we can see Nolden brakes just a little bit later, enough to pull his car ahead of Brunner, though, but that messes up his line for 10B. Brunner hits the apex, carries a lot more speed, and then takes that position straight back. But again, I got to give lots of credit to Kerry Nolden. He really gave it everything he had there.
Absolutely, and well, you can see it was sliding several times as he went towards the line, to be honest. Just braking so late, but Brunner, obviously, he kind of read him, to be honest, and just switched back on the second part of the chicane and got a better exit. And Kerry, I think he just lost the back end a little bit, just pushing hard going down the hill there, and got very close to Jake Beckett's front wing, and it's very impressive by Beckett as well to get third on his debut.
Of course, Nolden picking up a couple of bonus points there with fastest lap and also pole position, so he really minimizes the points loss between himself and Brunner, just 3 points behind, a total of 27. Zero incident race for Beckett as well. Fantastic showing for him. The second American to join the league just jumps in, and his first race gets a zero incident podium. You got to say that's definitely looking good for him. Jamie Fluke, the one-time championship leader, now not the championship leader. We'll see exactly how that championship is looking in just a minute, but he finished in 4th position ahead of Phil Reed. In the end, only 4 seconds between the two of them, so that was a little bit closer than I expected. Mark Hoppen, in the end, finishing in 15th position and scoring 3 points. It would have been 6 points if he had finished 90% of the race. So like I said, I think Mark Hoppen should have gone back out there, honestly. He could have picked up at least 3 more points just by finishing 2 more laps, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that's unfortunate for him. A nice finish, though, for Alexander Van Rompuy in 14th position. Frederick Johansson as well. That's a great finish for him in 12th position. He started in 24th position. So Frederick Johansson moved up 12 positions in no small part because of all these DNFs we're seeing here on the page. So that certainly helped Frederick Johansson, but good job by him to finish in 12th. And in fact, it was a double points finish for Team Tortoise. So Justin Brunner takes the lead of the championship now. Jamie Fluke 8 points behind, and then it's a further 19 points back to Phil Reed. Martinson, though, moves ahead of Godin after Godin was absent today. I forgot to mention that during the race, but Godin, Takanen, Timu Valkjärvi, we had a number of absent. Yeah, Puheka as well, also absent. So that kind of shook things up. Kerry Nolden moving up a number of positions into 7th now with 88 points, 20 points behind Martinson, though. So Govan Keeney still classified in 10th position, but as we mentioned in the introduction, no longer participating in the league as he's been removed. So it's a bit of a shakeup, really, in the top 10 there. And actually, it looks like it's been a bit of a shakeup in the next set of 10 as well. So interesting stuff here. We've only got 4 races still to go, right, Fizzy?
Yeah, 12 race season. This was round 8, so we're kind of heading into the last third of the season after this, and very close to battles up and down the field, as it has been all season, to be honest. Just one good result for one of these guys could really move them up several positions, or one bad result that could just drop them way down. So it's all to play for everyone, really. And there we go, Jake Beckett on his debut, moving himself all the way up to 27th just from that one result. Very impressive. I do believe he's actually only 14 years old, and he hasn't. I don't think he's got too much experience from the Star Mazda car. He has some background from the Spec Racer Ford, I believe. So yeah, but so very impressive for him to come in here and just challenge the 2 champions of the league in his debut race. But unfortunately, though, he is the reserve, so he might not be present, for every race. But
well, I certainly hope he partakes in season 4, because I think he showed great maturity, great speed. I mean, everything about his race today was pretty much flawless. I really can't fault Jake at all. He finished in the same position that he started in, but of course that starting position was 3rd. So and this is a very competitive league as well. But AOR Blue taking the lead, by the way, ahead of Glacier Racing, thanks to that double top 5 finish from AOR Blue. Actually, I'm sure Kerry Nolden a little bit gutted after just about winning the race a couple of times. It was looking so good for him. So, but despite that, they do move ahead in the teams championship. So I'm sure AOR Blue are at least celebrating that small victory, as they pretty comfortable lead as well. But of course, both Glacier cars were absent today, so that's a big part of it as well. With both Puheka and Takanen both being absent. And then Timo Valkjärvi, who doesn't contribute to their points, he is a reserve driver for Glacier Racing. Wow, and that is a difficult back-to-back race there to go from Road Atlanta to Mossport. Sort of similar circuits, very flowing circuits, very high speed in certain areas. One major overtaking location there at turn 8. That is definitely going to be probably the number 1 spot, I expect. But wow, what a race here today from Road Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining me in the commentary booth, Fizzy.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to be here once again. Another exciting race, and what a battle for the lead we were given. Hopefully more of the same next time.
Yep, looking forward to it. So thanks, guys, for joining us. We will see you next time from Mossport. Thanks again. Have a good one.